Today, we're talking about 20 minutes that literally can change your life, and I'm so excited about it. Welcome to Winning Begins at Home. I'm Randy, and I'm glad you're with us. We're talking about building a personal operating system. An operating system, think about it, it's like the one in your phone. It helps with efficiency and effectiveness and information, and all the apps and stuff get processed. I think our lives, really, we need a way to process and have really an operational way of thinking about the way an organized way really to think about our life. I made the statement yesterday, you can either live by design or you can live by default. I think so many people live by default, and our lives could be maybe more fulfilling if we would design some things. And specifically yesterday, we jumped into the waters of creating a great morning routine. I think it's so powerful when we set out to win the first hour of the day. But I've got a question for you today. Why do some people's morning routines last for years? I mean, it seems like it just becomes a habit. It's what they do. And then others will fizzle out after a few days. Well, I mentioned the 20 minutes. I ran across a statistic. I thought this was good. Research shows that morning routines can reduce stress, boost productivity. It's what we've been talking about. That's all great. But studies have also found that people who start with shorter routines, under 20 minutes, are much more likely to maintain them long-term than those who would say, I'm going to have this hour-long morning routine. Don't start with an hour. Start with 20 minutes. In fact, I challenged you yesterday, pick 15 minutes to start the day before you touch your phone, before you do anything else, 15 minutes, and focus on something you want to read or something you want to think about, or sit quietly, drink your coffee, whatever. But just to really calibrate for the day, to design, this is the kind of person I want to be, to think through that and design your day around that. I think that's so amazing. So we're much more likely to maintain it, which is really what we're talking about today. How do we make our morning routine stick and be consistent in that? Our morning routine is so important because, and I've believed for a long time that your routines that you have in your life right now, your habits, they really are perfectly designed to give you the results that you're getting in your life. And so the same thing's true with your morning routine. Your morning routine, if you're not having good days, it very well could be that you're not getting off to a good start. And so let's give some thought to that. So I would just encourage you, as we think about this, don't try to overhaul everything at one time. I mentioned a couple things that I do at the beginning of the day yesterday. You choose what you want to do, but you don't have to do everything, but you can do something. And you can do a couple of things maybe in 15 minutes. So or 20 for sure. 10 minutes of this and 10 minutes of that. And then if you want to add to it after it becomes a habit or after it becomes a routine, you feel free. You go for it. It'd be great to design your whole first hour. I know a lot of people, they've got a good hour designed, and you're going to be able to fit several things into that first hour rather than being reactive. Like we talked about, we could be intentional about several things, but let's just start with a couple of things. And I think there's power in what James Clear in Atomic Habits, he talks about habit stacking. I think there's power in that. And I mentioned yesterday that I get up, I drink my water. There's just things I do, and I move. It's almost like a trigger. It's like I move from this one to this one to this one to this one, and I've created that's the routine of it, right? And I want to challenge you to really give some thought to that and try this for a week or two. Just not just a day. Try this for a couple of weeks and see what happens. I promise you, you're going to feel better. You're going to think better. You're going to have more energy, and you're really going to be ready for what it is that you're going to face during the day. So much stress we have on us, and so many challenges and projects are going on, and all kind of emails coming our way, and we've got meetings and if you're working outside of your home, you're gonna be in traffic, and I mean it's like there's no end to stuff that just comes at us. And if our minds and our hearts are right, I've found for years that if I've set my mind and my heart in the right place as I leave, I'm thinking correctly, it just makes the day better. So I think you got an opportunity here. So as you think about this, I would say your morning routine should serve your life, not the other way around. You're not a servant to your morning routine. This routine, you're designing it to help you become the person that you want to become. So maybe that's a little insight there for some of you. You're just thinking, I'm supposed to have a morning routine and I feel guilty if I don't. No, the reason you have a morning routine is because you're trying to gain traction toward the kind of person you want to be. And so again, you get to design it accordingly, which will be cool. But I would say the minimum routine, if you're going to have one, it's got to be 5 to 10 minutes. You're probably not going to get, you can't call it a routine if you just do a couple things and then move on into your day. This is going to require some focus. It's probably going to require a little bit of change of maybe even environment. You're going to need to not go into this room, for a few minutes. I've got to spend some time thinking about this before I go and do that. And it may require you even changing your schedule a little bit, getting up a little bit earlier to be able to have that routine, because you may live with a bunch of people. And as soon as you come out of of your bedroom or wherever, you're just bombarded with, the needs of everybody else. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with that, but you may need to spend a little bit of time making sure that you're leading you before you try to lead everybody else in your family. So, just a couple of thoughts there. And then I would say, one last thing here, as an old guy who has a little bit of a different routine now than I had when I did have little kids running around all over the place. Whatever season of life you're in, feel free to adjust accordingly. There's just something that's so cool about, getting older and having the ability to say, I don't need to do this right now. I don't need to do that. I really do get to choose, but the same thing's true for all of us. I mean, you may have more demanding things going on as far as, schedule and kids, like I mentioned, and that will switch it, but you can find a place in the morning if you choose to grab some time to say, I've got to have a little bit of time here to think about the thing I want to. And then the other thing I would say is, you're not a servant to your, I mentioned to your routine. I think you got to maintain what I would call a spirit of flexibility here. I want to encourage you. You're not going to be perfect here. That's not really the goal. The goal is to make sure that I'm making progress toward the kind of person that I want to be. And if my routine stops helping me do that, I may need to switch up my routine. That's great. But that doesn't mean I'm going to scrap my routine. I need to make sure that I'm finding the right things to do. So a few things there to think about. I would say as we end today, I want to encourage you to our action step really would be to design a 5-minute morning routine using some habit stacking. And so you might think of 3 things that you could do that would be 5 minutes or less, maybe a couple that are 7 minutes or less, however you want to think about it. Let's get to our 15 to 20 minutes here. And so I'm going to do this for 5 minutes, this for 5, this for 5. Now, if you want to expand that to 7 each or 10 each, whatever, do a couple. Again, I think the goal here, if you've not been doing any of this, is to say, I'm 20 minutes or less. I'm going to have some early wins in my quest here. And I think if you get that, you can start adding as much as you want to. And there comes a point where your first hour of the day really does become, I think, your best hour in so many ways. It sets you up to win the other hours. I said it yesterday. If you can't win the first hour, I don't think you can win all the hours. It's pretty stating obvious here. So I think the best morning routine isn't the most impressive one that you read about online. It's not the one I'm describing. It's the one that you can actually do consistently, even on your worst days, to help you become the person that you want to become. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. We're talking morning routines this week. Hope yours is getting better. Remember, winning begins at home.